there everybody, welcome back to my channel on this lovely morning here in the UK anyway. How is the weather where you guys are? Or to any of our UK viewers, are we enjoying this nice sunny day? I hope so. Welcome back to my channel, Boomy Reactions. I am Boomy. Hello and thank you for watching. Now today guys, I would like to share with you another video from across the pond from Lawrence. I do like Lawrence's videos. He's so funny, so quintessentially British. His sense of humor, I love those little refrains that he's got as well. I think they suit him really well. So yes, we're going to be talking about some more similarities and some more funny differences between the UK and the US. So which video have we got today? We've got 8 American things that Britain doesn't even have a word for, part 2. So if you haven't caught part 1, guys, then just go away and check that out, because now we have some more funny kind of differences, some more kind of weird, eccentric things that are different between us in the UK and you in the US. I do love these videos. I think they're so much fun. So let's crack on with the video, guys. And if you're enjoying these reactions, as always, please like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And it turns out that Cheese Whiz, which sounds like something you might be sold on a dark corner in Camden, is really only marketed in Canada, Mexico, the United States, the Philippines, and Venezuela.
Oh, interesting.
Hello, I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to things and stuff. Particularly things and stuff for which the other country doesn't have a word. Now, you may remember that a few weeks ago I did a video that touched on these very things. 8 American things that Britain doesn't even have a word for.
Yes,
well, prepare yourself for the greatest sequel since
The
Empire Strikes Back, The Two Towers, and Psycho 3. Because this is 8 American things that Brits don't even have a word for, part 2.
How can there be so many?
Puppy. And so, after 13 years of living in the United States, what other crazy things do we not have back in my homeland? Let's take a look.
Tater tots!
What a surprise. We're going to begin this list, just as we're going to end it, with American food. Tater tots. What the heck are tater tots? Well, many years ago, when my wife suggested that we eat tater tots as a starter/appetizer, I thought she'd lost her mind and was ordering from the kids menu. But it turns out that tater tots, which are a kind of grated potato that are deep fried and turned into a cylinder, are popular among many Americans, no matter the person's age or ability to make healthy choices. And while we love a good potato in Britain, the closest I came to experiencing anything like this was devouring a fish cake. And I know what you're thinking, Lawrence, you've lost your blooming marbles. Fish and potato are not the same thing. But a lot of fish cake is battered, and for me, the best kind does include potato.
Yeah, in the UK, you know, it's not that far off actually. The fish cakes do. You could easily be convinced that it's potato. This is an interesting one. So I know I say this a lot in Lawrence's videos, but I feel like newer generations, because we're kind of, that gap between the UK and the US, it feels like it's becoming less and less vast. We're so heavily influenced by US culture and food now. And, you know, we watch an awful lot of American TV, and we see these things on TV, and we all want to try them. So growing up, I know I had seen tater tots in a lot of American TV shows, and I really wanted to try them. I had no idea what they were, but I just heard them, and I wanted to try them so desperately. But now, you know, as that gap between us, that pond is becoming, you know, it's a little bit narrower. We're better connected. We do kind of, every now and again, get like food products from over in the US. I don't think I've ever had tater tots, but a lot of you have told me that actually hash brown bites are quite similar, and we have gorgeous hash brown bites over here in the UK. We love hash browns, and yes, as long as they're similar, I think I have a rough idea of what they are. Now, Lawrence made a funny point here. So I think when he said they ordered tater tots, he thought it was something off the children's menu. So over in the UK, all of our like frozen little potatoey bits, like potato smileys, potato waffles, alpha bites. I don't know if you've ever seen or heard of any of those, but they're just potato shapes. Just done, you know, it's potato done in a different way. Sometimes they're breaded, sometimes, you know, they've got that kind of coating on them, and we love them. Really more of a children's food here in the UK, but I still eat them. I still think they're delicious, however unhealthy they are. But yes, I suppose they are a bit more of a kid's favourites, but that doesn't stop any adult from, indulging in alpha bites every now and again.
Either way, tater tots, they're best with ketchup, unlike these. And while that was a terrible segue, can you remember a few weeks ago when I said this? The word car hop has nothing to do with dogs because that would be mental. Furthermore, a car hop is not a type of car that hops because see previous comment. Well,
so a few of you have let me know that, do you remember the scene in the Flintstones in the little intro with that lovable little song? They have a car hop there. So I kind of it's crazy how the only way that I can actually understand what a car hop is by, telling me that it's in the introduction to a cartoon. But I kind of get it, but we don't have them in the UK, so they are an interesting thing. But yes, I think they're less of a thing in the US than they used to be. But yes, thank you all of you for letting me know some interesting, nice little bits of info about the car hops.
I was reminded by Jeff, one of my longtime patrons, that America does have cars that hop, and not just Herbie. Lowrider cars are exactly as they sound. They're specifically customized to have a lower body, right? A bit like a wrestler after multiple back surgeries. And, I'm not a mechanic. I don't understand how it all works. But basically, these cars have a height adjustable suspension that allows them to do things that would make the Transformers themselves. And while lowriders were popular in West Coast hip hop and featured in the music videos of Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, us Brits aren't cool enough to drive anything like this. But then again, we did give the world the Mini. Meanwhile, Jeff on Patreon is on a roll because he also brought to my attention this. In the original video, you may remember that I talked about a geological phenomenon known as buttes. Well, there's one other type of phenomenon that, while not exclusive to the United States, it's only found in arid regions of the world that are similar to America's southwest. I'm talking about arroyo. An arroyo is a kind of temporary dry creek or gulch, and they often come about after a series of flash floods. And as you've probably guessed, it's taken from the Spanish word arroyo. In Spanish, arroyo just means any small river. And it's quite comforting to hear that, because if an arroyo magically showed up in the United Kingdom, I think we just call it a stream or an English puddle. Anyway, while we're on the subject of names, that brings us on to this. This entry comes with a little bit of a caveat. In the United States, Miranda rights, or a Miranda warning, is basically a notification from a police officer warning of your right to remain silent. How do I know this? Because I accidentally fell into the Mississippi naked once. And the term came about not because the arresting officer is called Miranda, though hilariously that probably has happened, but because it derives from the 1966 US Supreme case, Miranda versus Arizona. Anyway, the reason that I said that this one comes with a caveat is that we do have the right to silence in the United Kingdom. We just don't have a single word or person's name that encapsulates it like America does. So with that,
you have the right to remain silent. Oh, so it has a name. Okay, I get it.
in mind, why don't I come up with one? From this day forward, the British right to remain silent will be known as Gemma rights, which I've just realised sounds like my friend's name, Gemma Wright. Now, I do want to stress that there are subtle differences between Miranda rights and the British right to remain silent, but more on that in another video. In the meantime, let's keep going.
Homecoming!
Every year across the United States, you'll hear this word, homecoming, and that's something I had to explain to my cousin, Tom Holland. Homecoming is this huge thing that takes place during September or October, where, universities, schools, sometimes entire towns, welcome back their alumnus or former community members. And they put on this huge do, which can include a football game, school choirs, marching bands, and they coronate a homecoming queen. And we don't have anything like this in Britain because, we have an actual queen. That said, we do use all of the letters in the word homecoming to declare something else. It's not homecoming, it's coming home. Football's coming home. My American audience is so confused right now.
It was a song. It's a phrase that, people in the UK say as it's coming up to the World Cup, the World Cup, the physical trophy, it's coming home. We're going to win it this year, guys. It's coming home. That is what that refers to. There is also a song that, everyone in the UK quite enjoys playing far too much at the time of the World Cup. But yes, there we go.
Speaking of ball games, batter up. I'm never doing that again.
Batter up. Whiffle
Many
ball.
moons ago, during my first summer in the United States of America, I was physically dragged into what I thought was my first ever game of baseball, but baseball for kids. Into my hands was thrust a round bat that was long and thin like my pen collection. Coming at me was a ball, but not one of those heavy balls that I'd come to associate with baseball, but a white perforated plastic ball that looked like one of those things you put in the washing machine.
Okay.
Dramatically, in slow motion, I did hit the ball, but also my mother-in-law's cousin. The game in question, while a variation of baseball, is called Whiffle ball. And since baseball itself hasn't really made many waves in the United Kingdom, thanks largely to the unfathomable allure of cricket, not to mention the clearly superior game of rounders, Whiffle ball is way at the back of the queue, to the extent that if we had it in Britain, we'd probably just call it baseball. And with that, I can already sense Americans coming at me with their bats. Put them down. I'm just the messenger. You know what? Let's move on to a non-divisive American sport for which the Brits don't have a word.
Do you know, that's quite, the actual term whiffle ball, that sounds like a crazy kind of funny, quirky British word that quite often, you know, we just make up these random words for bizarre things. Whiffle ball would fit right in there, wouldn't it? Okay, so is this like a kid's little game that's like an introduction to baseball, or is it just a game for fun that you can play, you know, in the backyard with family and friends, and you know, it's not serious, it's quite harmless. I suppose maybe that's a little bit similar to rounders. So we don't play rounders competitively. They play it in schools, they play it, you know, just in your garden. I wonder if it's quite similar to that, like maybe kind of same kind of principles, different rules, obviously. But yeah, okay. Soccer.
I'm joking. That's right, we return now to America's royal family. You see, whether or not this is true, in my head, I imagine that homecoming queens grow up to be really rich. And so by the time this has happened and she moves into the house of her dreams, she spends every night sleeping on top of the California king. And because some people in the world have filthy minds, I should probably clarify that a California king is a size of bed. But then you knew that already if you've seen my video on 5 ways that British and American bedrooms are very different. You see, in the UK, bed sizes end with the super king, which is 72 inches by 78. Anything after that, and we simply don't have a word for it.
Anything bigger than that, and we simply cannot fit it into a bedroom. I don't know if you've seen any of my previous videos or reactions, or any of Lawrence's previous videos talking about like comparing the size of houses and space that we have available in the UK. But our houses, by comparison to the majority of yours, I would say, is it a majority? Or what we perceive to be your average American house. I suppose by comparison, ours are a lot smaller because, you know, we're a smaller little island, aren't we? So space is a lot more like kind of valuable over here because there's less of it. So yes, yeah, it kind of makes sense, but our bedrooms could, I think the majority of our bedrooms, they just could not accommodate these bigger size beds. So yes, even in some bedrooms, you know, what would we say? So like a king size bed is pushing it in a lot of our bedrooms. Standard bedrooms, you know, I'm not talking about massive houses in the UK, and they do exist, but most people don't live in them. So yeah, I think, you know, comes down to that, doesn't it? Always comes down to size.
California king is almost 6 inches longer, and I hope that my Aunt Ethel didn't turn on the video at that sentence. But even though I discussed this in a previous video, I really wanted to include it in this one, because it turns out the California king isn't America's biggest ever mattress size. In fact, it's been beaten to that title by some of America's other all-conquering monarchs. The Wyoming king, a perfect square, measures in at 84 by 84 inches, while no mattress comes close to dethroning the Alaskan king, that measures in at a whopping and quite frankly stupid 108 by 108 inches.
Why is it called
Just
the Alaskan
thinking about
king?
that makes me want to go and lie down. I can't do that yet because we are now ready for our final entry.
That just wouldn't fit at all in any room
As has
in our
been a
houses
theme
in the
during
UK.
this video, today's final entry comes at the suggestion of one of my patrons, Deborah, who asks, is Cheese Whiz a thing in the UK? And the answer is no.
Not
But
at
what
all.
is Cheese Whiz? Well, Cheese Whiz is basically a processed cheese sauce. And you can put it on many things, but it's arguably most synonymous with Philly cheesesteak. And it turns out that
spray
Cheese
cheese.
Whiz, which sounds like something you might be sold on a dark corner in Camden, is really only marketed in Canada, Mexico, the United States, the Philippines, and Venezuela, making it a memo that most certainly got lost in the pond. And there's probably a good many reasons for this, but one of them is that we in Britain are quite proud of our cheeses. Then again, America itself has a host of better cheese offerings than this. And Britain should probably be thankful that Cheese Whiz hasn't made its way into the shopping aisles or the dictionary. That's it for this episode. I'm Lawrence Brown. You can follow me on Twitter at LostInThePondUS, and be sure to subscribe to my channel so that my videos don't get lost in the pond. And finally, an Alaska King size shout out to my patrons who make these videos possible. If you would like to become a patron of Lost in the Pond, you can do so at patreon.com/lostinthepond. Until the next video, goodbye.
I do love Lawrence's videos. He's so funny. So there we go. There's another handful of things that we just don't have a word for in the UK, or we just haven't heard of them. So like spray cheese, Cheese Whiz. Again, I think my generation and the generations after have seen it on American kind of style TV or in films, and we're just baffled. We don't know what it is. I can understand the principle of it, I guess, like the kind of maybe the science behind it. So like an aerosol kind of, I don't know, what do you call it? Like a spray cheese, like how you'd have like squirty cream in like, the little canister of aerated squirty cream. I imagine it's similar to that, but I can't fathom the texture or what the texture would be. That's the main thing. So we know what it is, but because the only similar thing that we'd have over here would be like squirty cream, we'd call it, in the canister. So it's got to be a similar kind of texture to that. It's got to be quite, not watered down, but it's got to be quite, less viscous to be aerated and put in that canister. So I imagine it's like an aerated cheese, like a melted cheese. But how would you get a cheese that stays so melted and you're able to squirt it? That's what's confusing a lot of people in the UK, a lot of British people. So I would love to try it. I would definitely try it. How do you eat it then, guys? Is it something that I've seen like squirted on crackers? How else do you eat it? Do you like squirt it on a hot dog? Well, I don't know. It's very interesting to us. But yes, lots of different things there. So thank you for watching this video with me, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I always enjoy these across the pond videos. So take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye, guys. Bye.